Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala wa ali Muhammad. Welcome everyone. Let's make our lines a little bit better. So brothers, the 5 of you, 4 of you who are all crumpled there, let's spread it out a bit. Each one in their own box. Make it look nice. And then the sisters, same with you, get a little bit more organized. Yesterday we spoke about the akhlaq, the etiquette of coming to a majlis of Imam Hussein, right? So we said, for example, one of the things was, someone tell me, what was one of the things we said for the majlis of Imam Hussein? We said we should try, okay, we should try to look good, right? Try to smell good. We said we should look nice, we should smell nice, we should wear our nice clothes, right? And what color clothes? Why black? And why don't I just wear like a bright red color or like a green color? Like a really bright green. Yes?
To show sadness.
Show sadness, yeah. That's why. Right? Black is the color of grief. One of the things we also said is that when you're sitting in the majlis, you should try to be as still as possible. You know, shaitan's always trying to tempt us, make us, you know, up and down, left and right. Not only does that, sometimes it bothers the speaker, now me or whoever may be, you're listening to a sayyid, a sheikh, right? It's also distracting for you. You're not able to focus 100% if you're always moving left and right. And we said another big thing is, for example, extending your legs. You don't want to do that. Sign of disrespect. In fact, I'll tell you a story. There was a friend of mine who he was trying to get married to a particular person. And when he was there at their house, you know, asking the father that, you know, can I get married to your daughter? He had his legs extended. Or else everything else was good. They liked each other, the families were okay. But just because that his legs were extended, they said, no, you're being disrespectful, that's it. No more marriage here. So it's in some cultures, it's a sign of disrespect. And so we shouldn't extend our legs when we're listening to a lecture, or even when your parents are around, your uncles, cousins, things like that. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So inshallah, tonight's topic is, what is our identity? This is a big question. In fact, it's a question that every single human being at one point in their lives asked. There was a study done that showed that 97% of people asked themselves at one point or another in their life, who am I? What am I doing? And where am I going? Right? So who created me? Who am I? What's my purpose? What am I doing here on the earth? And then where am I going? Is there life after death? Or does it just end all in the grave? Or is there only hell? Is there only heaven? Is it just like a sleep forever and ever? So these are questions that people ask all the time, right? So, and then when we go to school, for example, a part of our identity, you go to school and you see, oh, what's the 2 weeks that we have off in December? It's towards the Christmas break, right? So you might come home and you're like, oh, mom, dad, mama, baba, everyone's celebrating Christmas. And mama is like, well, we don't celebrate Christmas. We don't do that here. And then spring comes around, you have, what type of break do you have?
Spring break.
Spring break, also known as Easter, right? Easter break. You come home, you're like, mom, everyone has these rabbits and these chocolates and everyone's celebrating Easter. Well, we don't do that here. Or at another time, you know, you grow older, you're like, oh, mom, all my friends are out. They want to go party. Mom, we don't do that here. We can't do that here. You grow older, you see, oh, all my friends or some of my classmates are listening to haram things. They're going to concerts, they're going here. Can I go? No, we don't do that here. You grow even older. You see weddings online, on Instagram, Facebook, things like that. You're like, wow, these guys are really, their wedding looks really, really cool. Can I do that? No, the things that they're doing is not okay. So there's a lot of do's and don'ts that we have. So this is our identity. We said yesterday that we're proud to be a Husseini. We said that when the month of Muharram comes, we prepare for our grief. We decorate, For our grief, you see all these flags, these banners. People come with love. They don't ask for any money, anything, no fame. They come and they decorate the masjid, they decorate their homes. You have all these headbands on. You decorate yourselves, your bodies, your clothing, in order that you may show love to Imam Hussein. So this is your identity. So it leads to the question of, well, this identity that I talk about, what does that mean firstly? Identity means if I asked you the question, who am I, or who are you rather, how would you answer? So take a second. So if I ask you, who are you? Take a second, think, how would you answer me? I say, Ali, who are you? How would you respond? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allah. So some people might say, well, I'm a Arab. Some people might say, well, I'm American. Some people might say, well, I'm a Bazzi. I come from a big family, the Bazzi family. Some people might say, well, I'm a student. Some people might say, I'm a brother. Some people might say, I'm a sister. Some say, well, let's say I'm a volunteer. When I ask you who you are, you might say, well, I'm a doctor, I'm a physician, I'm an engineer. Or you say, well, you know, I'm an American because I grew up in America. You might say you're Lebanese because that's your originality from. So there are a lot of different answers, and at different points in our lives, guys, we have different things that we identify with. Maybe you've even heard of some people who identify really interesting, really funny things online. I was watching a video, and they said, oh, well, you know, who are you? They said, you know, I identify as a green orb. Green orb. I said, okay, that's interesting. Green orb. Or you have different people who are like, well, I identify, and this was interesting because it was in the news. There was a student who said, you know, I identify as some type of animal. Okay, they said like I'm let's say a dog or something. So they're saying the school has to provide me with an area like that I may act like a dog, because that's a part of my rights. I identify as a dog. So the question is, who do we and what do we identify as? And what's interesting is that whenever you identify yourself as something, the actions that you do go back to that identity. What do I mean? So let's say you have a person, he sleeps at 2 a.m. every single night. What do we call that person? A night owl, right? Someone who always is pulling all-nighters, never sleeps on time. He's a night owl. So then tomorrow, what can I expect him to do? What time is he going to sleep? Probably right, because he's a night owl. When he's tired in the morning, when he wakes up, oh, that's because he's a night owl. Right? When he's groggy, he's low energy. Or you have on the other hand, you have a person who, let's say, wakes up really early. What do we call that person? A morning owl? No. Morning bird. Morning bird, right? So we expect him to wake up every single day, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, start to do their work. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, inshallah, guys, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So inshallah, tonight we're going to answer 6 questions. 6 questions I'm going to pose that we're going to answer. Number 1, how is the conduct and the behavior of us as humans always tied to our identity and how we see ourselves? Number 2, what are the different ways that we identify as? And if we have different ways that we identify, which of them is the most important? We can be a doctor, or a brother, or a family member, a friend. Which one of these is most important? Number 3 is, does Allah tell us anything about identity, the type of identity that we should have? Does the Quran tell us anything about this? Number 4, how does Imam Ali talk to us about identity? Number 5, what does Quran mean and what is the Quran talking about when he says that one who forgets himself or one who forgets Allah has forgotten himself? And finally, how do the lines of salat, so at the end of our life, there's a salat al-mayyit, salat of the dead. What are the things that we say in that prayer go back to identity? Inshallah, we'll delve into this after 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we said Islam is a religion where there's a lot of do's and a lot of don'ts, right? You can't go party, for example, with alcohol. You can't, for example, smoke marijuana, for example. You should pray. In fact, you have to pray. You have to do your salat. You have to go to Hajj. So it's a religion that has a lot of do's and has a lot of don'ts. So I have to understand my identity. I have to know who I am. Or else I'll think that, you know what, Allah is very oppressive. Allah is such a bad guy. He's making me, I have to wake up at like 4 in the morning to pray. So mean of Allah. It's so bad of Allah to make me do that. So if I understand my identity, I can then say, okay, is Allah doing the right thing here? Is He doing not the right thing here? A lot of times we see ourselves as what we call independent beings. That I'm independent, I do whatever I want. I want to wake up at 5 in the morning, if I want to wake up at 3 in the afternoon, I can. If I want to go here, I can do that. If I want to say this, I can say this. If I want to listen to something, it doesn't matter. Whatever I want to do, I can do, because I'm independent. I don't need to listen to anybody. Right? And so the reason that this topic of identity is so important is because your identity defines what you shall do. So we said, for example, that night owl, what do we expect him to do every night? Sleep late. The morning bird, what do we expect him to do every day? Wake up early. Usually he'll wake up and then he'll go do usually what? Some type of exercise, right? So if someone tells me, I don't know him at all. He says, you know what? I'm a morning bird. Okay, in my head, I already know. Okay, so this guy probably has some goals in his life. He probably wakes up early. And then he exercises and he has a list of plans that he wants to do and he's able to do them. And if someone tells me, for example, I'm a night owl, well I know, well maybe he's, for example, a gamer, or he's playing games until the middle of the night. He's probably has a really poor sleep schedule, which means his health is probably bad. So just by the identity that someone gives you or you tell someone, you're able to say, okay, this guy probably does this, he does this, he does this. If someone tells me, I'm a influencer, okay, what am I going to expect him to do? Have some sort of online influence, right? He's a content creator, so I'm probably going to expect him to do some stupid things online too, right? So just by the name, the identity that you give others, you're able to see, okay, what is he going to do in the future? Now I want you to think about this. Imagine your dad says, Ali, go and take the garbage out. And right now it's night. Because he told you earlier and you didn't listen. Your dad said, go take the garbage in the morning, tomorrow's the garbage day, you didn't listen. Now it's night, and you're taking the garbage out, and you go out, and then you hear a sound in the bush. Okay, you hear a sound in the bush. The first thing that you do is, for some people, they've already ran, right? There's some people, they already ran in the house, a bunch of scaredy cats. But the first thing that you want to know is what is it in this bush, this sound? Is it a snake? Is it a possum? Is it a bear? Or is it like a cute little rabbit just making noise, jumping? Or is it just the wind? So the first thing that you want to know is what is the identity of this thing? Because then you can make a decision on what you want to do. Do I want to run away? Do I want to maybe proceed with throwing the garbage out? What is it that I want to do? So let's imagine it's that rabbit. What are you going to do? You're going to continue throwing the garbage out, right? If it was like a snake, or let's say a rat, what would you do? Probably run away, right?
No.
No, we have a strong and courageous person here. This is what I would do. I would quickly run and throw the garbage and then run back inside. Right? You could do that too. You could definitely do that too, inshallah. Is the echo off? Okay. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So look guys, sometimes we have these identities. I personally, I'm a brother, I'm a friend, I'm a worker, I work in the hospital. So there are times when these identities are different part. Now they're clashing. Am I a brother first? Is that more important? Or is being a friend more important? Or let's say I'm at work and someone calls and says, let's go out, we want to hang out. Okay, at that point, what's probably going to take precedence? What's more important to me? That I'm a worker. My identity of being a worker in a company is going to be more important than my identity at this time of being a friend. I'm not just going to leave work just to hang out. Maybe after work I can hang out. But right now we have to put that to the side. So, there are some times where these things contradict each other. We have two identities fighting over each other. Which one takes foundation? And the one that takes foundation is who you really are. If you are the person, for example, that stays with his family compared to going with his friends, then you are more of a family person than you are a friend, right? Or if you're more with your friends than you are with the family, when both of them are conflicting, then you're more of a friend than you are a son, or more of a friend than you are a brother or a sister. So let's say there's a person who his friends call him and they say, you know, we're going to spend some time, we want to go out, drink some coffee, and then let's go play soccer afterwards. And then at the same time, his mom calls and his mom says that, oh, you know, I'm feeling sick, I have to go to the hospital. Right? What's the choice that we'll all make here? Inshallah, everyone's saying, well, I'm going to go help my mom, right? Because we are more of a son or a daughter than we are a friend. Okay, skip the game, we'll play another time. Right now, I have to go help my mom. So, Islam expects the same thing from you. When it comes to that foundational identity of who you really are, Islam expects you to take the foundation, not the other thing. Right? And Islam says, it doesn't matter, you be a doctor, that's fine. You want to be a nurse, that's fine. You want to be an engineer, that's fine. You can have that identity. You want to be a person, for example, a brother, fine. You want to have a father, a mother, completely fine. Nothing haram in that. But when it comes down to these areas where they clash, you have this identity pulling you and the other identity pulling you, Islam says make sure that you choose the right thing. So what is this foundational identity? The Quran tells us. And you know, it might sound very sad that, oh my God, this is who I am. The Quran tells us that, Ya ayyuhan nasu antumul fuqara. O people, you're poor in the eyes of Allah. O people, Ya ayyuhan nas, O people, antumul fuqara. You are poor in the eyes of Allah. But you might be saying, well, I come from a big family. I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire. I have all these people that work under me, or I'm like the coolest one of my friends. They all listen to me. I have an iPhone 16 Pro Max that hasn't come out yet. Or I have the PlayStation 5, or I have this and that. I'm such an important person. How is Allah saying I'm poor? Because at the end of the day, we don't own anything. Think about it. Do you really own anything?
No.
No, not really. Because who, for example, these eyes that I have, who gave them to me?
My mom.
Allah, right? Right, Allah? Allah gave you your eyes? For example, right now, am I telling my heart to beat? I'm not like, start beating. No, it's not. I don't do that. Or for my stomach to do its job, for my blood to do its job. All of these, firstly, I didn't make it. It's not like I made my heart and I put it there, and then I made my blood vessels and I put them where they belong, my kidneys, my liver. No, they were given to me by Allah. So Allah says, since you don't own anything, I gave you everything that you have, then you really aren't anything. You don't have any power, right? So power and authority comes from owning something, okay? Imagine right now, someone's on your lawn in your house. Can you tell him, get off my lawn? Yes, right? Because it's your house. Now imagine you go to someone else's house and you say, get out of the house. This is my house now. Does that make sense? No. You know why the issue of the Palestinians and the Israelis is such a big issue? It's because there are some people that go to the Palestinians' houses, they say, get out, this is my house now. What? What do you mean? I've been living here for 200 years. What are you talking about? This is my house. So power comes from owning things. Allah says, you don't own anything. I gave you everything you have. This brain that you have. You think, oh, I was so smart. I came up with this business idea. Who gave you the brain? Allah gave you the brain. So in reality, you don't own anything. So authority comes from ownership. We don't own anything. So at the end of the day, what are we? We are servants. We are khuddam. We are servants of Allah. Allah tells us in the Quran that He created us. One of the reasons that He created us is to pray. Why? Well, you just created me to pray? Because we don't own anything. You're a servant. It's like you go to someone. Let's say there's a farmer, right? And he has people who work for him. Can the people who work for him say, you know what? I want to plant, for example, corn this year, without permission of the actual farmer? No, because they don't own the land. So the person who owns, the person who has things is able to make decisions. Who has things? Who's the one that made us? Allah. So Allah is able to make that decision of what are you going to do? What do you have to do? What's your purpose? Allah tells us in the Quran that Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let's go back to the origin story of where us humans came from. Allah tells us in the Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقَ. The human being should think sometimes and think of what he was created from. Right now you think you're so cool, you're a millionaire, your friends think you're so cool, you have this car, that car, you have social credit, you look cool in front of people. But where did you come from, Allah says? People should think where you came from. خُلِقَ مِن مَاءٍ دَافِقٍ يَخْرُجُ مِن بَيْنِ الصُّلْبِ وَالتَّرَائِبِ. That you came from a drop of fluid. We all came from cells, right? Can you even see a cell with your eyes? No. You need a microscope to times it by like 4,000 to be able to see it. So Allah's saying you were nothing. You were a bunch of cells. And then you became to this big human being who that has now, for example, 37 trillion cells or whatever. You were nothing before. I made you into something, Allah says. So therefore, we have to serve Allah. Allah says, therefore, for example, pray. We have to pray. Because He's the one who created us. Allah is the one who created us. And He has the power and the authority. And Allah, in Surah Al-Insan, goes further. In the first 3 ayahs, explains basically the whole life of the human being in a nutshell. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna hal ata ala al-insani hinun min ad-dahri lam yakun shay'an madhkura. There surely came over man a period of time when he was a thing not worth mentioning. Allah says that me and you, there was a time where you're not even worth mentioning. You're a bunch of cells, who cares? If I take right now, there's hand sanitizer there. I wash my hands, I probably kill like 10,000 cells right there. At least, right? Bacteria, this, that. Allah says you were something that was not even worth mentioning. It's not worth my time to even talk about it. Now you're here, oh, I'm so cool, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. That we need to try to Him, so we have made Him hearing, seeing. Surely we have shown Him the way. He may be thankful or unthankful. Right? So the human being, Allah says, we gave you this thinking, this seeing. Some of you will be thankful, some of you will not be thankful. And you know, when it goes into like, if you think about these great scholars, these philosophers, they say that the human is a mumkin. The human is a mumkin. Mumkin means that this thing is so flimsy, is so weak, that it can't survive without something else. Right? Sometimes you might look at, for example, in your biology class, there are some animals that can't live without another animal. For example, a virus. If a virus does not find a host, it can't replicate, it can't get more. Right? If a worm does not find, for example, a pig or some type of animal to eat through, it can't survive. So Allah says that, the philosophers say that we are a mumkin. We are something that's not even worth mentioning. Why? Because if we take Allah out of the picture, we say Allah never existed, what happens to us? We never exist. If we take Allah right now, we take Allah out and it's just us, what happens? We stop existing. Because we only exist because of Allah. So if Allah leaves, there's no Ehsan, there's no Ali, there's no Fatima, there's no Zahra. These people don't exist. And so that's who we are. We are a group of people, human beings. We are a group of people who on their own cannot exist. Don't exist on their own. And then we claim to be so pompous and so cool and so big, wanting to make decisions, this and that. And in fact, in the Quran, Allah tells us that, look, if we wanted to come and change you people, if we want to come change you, let's say we want to get rid of all the Arabs in the world, or we wanted to get all of the white people in the world, Allah says it's easy. Easy. Split second. Kun fayakun. It can happen. What happened to the people of Nabi Nuh? Rain comes, flood comes, everyone dies. Everyone who's not on the boat dies. So many times we hear stories of prophets where they don't listen to the prophets, they don't listen to the continuous reminders of the prophets. What happens? Adab comes down, a tornado comes, all of them get destroyed, and then another group of people come. So Allah says that, look, you are so flimsy that not only firstly you were nothing before, now I made you into something, you're still nothing right now, because in the split of a second I can destroy you, get rid of you, replace you. Now Imam Ali alayhi salam says in regards to identity, he says that أَيُّهَا الْمَخْلُوقُ السَّوِي, that he says, oh you, the people, that someone else had to create you, and someone else had to come in and organize your affairs. So Allah firstly came, He created you, and He said, okay, the heart should be here, the kidney should be here, the arm should be here, the body should be able to do this. So Allah came, created us, and then He's organizing our affairs. You're able to do this, your body's able to do that. That before you are the one that God created and brought you forward through the darkness of the wombs. That when you were in your mom's abdomen, in your mom's womb, you were nothing. In darkness, generation after generation. That people didn't know who you are. They didn't know if you're a boy or you're a girl. They don't know if you're going to have this type of hair, that type of hair. In fact, you're so weak in that point that no one can talk to you. You can't talk to others. And you were hidden behind multiple layers, Imam says. Your creation started from a speck of dust. And then what happened? After a period of time, Allah brought you and He put you in a place of residence. That Allah says not only, okay, you're born now, can you be on your alone? No. Now you need a house, you need food, you need water. You're still in need of everything. You're still dependent on Allah. You're going from one corner to the other corner of the womb. You're so insignificant, we said that, you couldn't even talk to anybody. No one can talk to you. Be like, oh, calm down. In fact, you come out of the womb, can you talk to anybody? No, you can't talk to anybody. Now, some people might say, well, you know, nature's the one that created this, right? That when you come out of the womb, you cry. You cry that, oh, I'm hungry. Or you cry that something's bothering you. But it's Allah who inspired us to do this, right? Or else how does the baby know that I have to cry in order that my mom knows to give me milk? Did someone teach it? Allah is the one who inspired us to be able to do that. So now we've come all this way, now Imam says, you've come all of this way, and now you're looking back and you see yourself as an independent being, right? After all of this, that 7-10 years you were useless, right? You couldn't eat without help. You couldn't, for example, work without help. You didn't have any means of a house or anything without the help of Allah. Then the Quran says that وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ. Allah says that don't be like the people who forget Allah because they forget themselves. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. Do not be like those who forgot Allah, so He made them forget themselves. Why? Because this whole time we're saying that, look, we're not independent of Allah, we're dependent. If you forget Allah, if you think you're on your own, what happens? That means that I can do whatever I want. That means you lose your purpose in life. What am I here on the earth to do? You forget. You don't know what you're doing anymore. Because you forgot that Allah created you as a servant. The whole purpose of me and your creation, brothers and sisters, is that we serve Allah's goals. What are Allah's goals? For example, helping the poor, being kind to parents. It's not like Allah is like this mean person that, oh, I created you to be a servant, so you have to work 23 hours a day, you get 1 hour. No. Allah is a just Lord. He's a merciful Lord. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So when it comes to the time of our death, when we've died, and they bring us to the masjid, they've done the ghusl, they've cleaned our bodies, and they stand in there in lines. The imam is there, the shaykh is there, and they have to do a prayer before they let us be buried. The lines that we have to say, the people who are praying for the dead person, they have to say a couple lines. It's wajib, they have to say. One of that is, Allahumma inna hadha al-musajja qaddamana abduka wa ibnu abdik wa ibnu umatik. That, oh Allah, this body, this thing in front of us, this body in front of us, that we see here is your servant who was born of a female and a male servant. Identity, right? Here we don't say in that prayer, oh Allah, in front of us is a doctor, in front of us is a brother, in front of us is the President of the United States. We don't say that in the prayer. But we say, oh Allah, look, those are nice titles to have. Nice. But if they don't help you here, they're useless. If you worked in something that it didn't help your akhirah, then you've wasted your life. We say that, oh Allah, this person, this body in front of us is your servant, the son of the male and female servant, meaning your mom and your dad. What happened to the whole life? All these identities, like we said, it's useless. The only thing that matters as of now is that, oh Allah, نزل بك وأنت خير منزول به. That Allah, He's now coming towards you, and you are the best person to go towards. Oh Allah, if he did well, so Allahumma inna la na'lamu minhu illa khayra. Allah, we don't know anything but him but good, but you know everything. Wa anta a'lamu bihi minna. Allahumma in kana muhsinan fazid fi ihsanih. Allah, if he was good, meaning his identity was good, he was a good servant to you, Allah, increase him in his goodness. اللهم إن كان محسنا فزد في إحسانه وإن كان مسيئا فتجاوز عن سيئاته واغفر لنا وله. And Allah, if he's bad, if he was a bad person, then Allah, forgive him and put him on the right path, him and us on the right path. So this is our most foundational identity. So if there's one thing that you learned today, it's that, look, who am I? I am a servant of Allah at the end of the day. That is our most foundational identity. When someone asks you who you are, in your head you should say, I am a servant of Allah. And then it comes, I'm a brother, I'm a sister, I'm a mother, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a doctor, I'm a student. All of that comes after. Inshallah, with that being said, let's send a Fatiha after salawat for all of those who contributed to tonight's program. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.